Eric Kalis, Chief Marketing Officer for Square 2. We help companies develop powerful sales and marketing programs to really drive revenue. This is the seventh video in a 7 video series that talks about sales enablement strategy. We're trying to help people build the perfect recipe that they can build their own sales enablement program and really drive some revenue. In our last and final video, we want to talk about data. Now, data is sometimes dry, but data is really critical. In fact, sales enablement has a real data problem. Because if sales enablement is all about ramping up sales reps and improving performance over time, but all that data is all over the place. Sales enablement people really spend a lot of time looking at a variety of different platforms and data sources where they can get the information to help the sales team close some deals. And don't forget about all the spreadsheets they're creating to aggregate that. So in today's episode, we're really going to cut to the chase of what you should be looking at and how you can manage that data. Here's a couple of reasons about why applying data is very complex. One, you got to figure out the right resources to get the content in the hands of the salespeople at the right time and help them sell more effectively, right? So that's a whole conversation in itself. Also, we have to train the salespeople. They have to understand how to take someone through the process in a somewhat uniform process so that the company's story, voice, and tone are all consistent. And then we have to measure all these different data sources that have ongoing activity and try to figure out what adjustments we need to make that are necessary for continuous improvement. Look, there's a lot of places where sales data lives, right? You have your content delivery platforms like Seismic. You have sales training systems where people are actually getting data on how they're improving their sales tools. You have customer relationship managers. The CRM like Salesforce has a wealth of data as well. Also, there's sales engagement platforms, like, in other words, cadence tools that are looking at the rhythms of the sales process. There's conversational intelligence, which are call recording systems, so that we record what our salespeople are saying and then analyze it using artificial intelligence. That's a whole boatload of data right there. And of course, we have a million spreadsheets. Look, the CRM is still the absolute most important tool when it comes to selling, right? But most companies still use the CRM as the primary source for sales activity data. The CRM is also critical for data related to the pipeline. But today, the CRM is no longer the single source of truth when it comes to sales activity data. More and more companies are tracking sales activities directly in those platforms that use data instead of just putting stuff into the CRM. Take a platform like Gong. Gong records every single conversation that your sales reps are having, and it's looking for specific phrases, competitors' names, so that it can pull all those out of those conversations, analyze that, and then feed sales leadership things that they should be doing better, or maybe they're not doing at all. Those are different ways to get data that aren't people just putting stuff into the CRM. And they're good for discovering what's working and what isn't too. But sales enablement teams and their sales managers can use that data to improve call scripts, how they can coach individual salespeople to be better, and so forth. With so much data and so many resources, the challenge for sales enablement teams is how do we pull it all together? With a comprehensive view of what each sales rep is doing, it's possible to figure out what's working and what isn't. In the absence of a single view, it's difficult to find any kind of signals in all that noise. So here are 3 hurdles that you have to overcome to make this happen. One, you got to figure out a way to integrate multiple data sources, and that's where software platforms become very effective. You have to get the data at the sales rep level. You got to see what individual sales reps are doing and then compare them to one another or industry benchmarks. And then you have to be able to pull that data and visualize it so that over time you're getting insights in how to fine tune it and make better decisions. Once you have all the data coming into whatever tool you choose, now you can start to make scorecards. And sales scorecards really power the sales enablement process. Tools like Brainshark put the power of sales data directly into the hands of the sales enablement team by automatically creating a data warehouse in the cloud for any business using Salesforce or the HubSpot CRM. And that makes it a lot easier to once again aggregate all this data. Well, great. Now you have all the data. What metrics should you track? So here are 6 key metrics I'd love you to start tracking immediately. One is obviously your overall win and loss rate, right? You want to figure out how many we're winning versus how many we're pitching. 2, we want to look at the sales cycle length. Did it used to take 90 days to close a deal? Maybe we could do it in 60 days and get those customers signing up faster. We also want to look at sales rep onboarding time. How fast does it take a new rep to get onboarded and effective? And that's important because the faster we can get the sales reps onboarded, the more effective our sales team will be. Of course, we want to look at quota attainment. How many people are hitting their actual monthly sales goals? And is the group, the sales team, hitting their quotas as well? And that's important to match up. Where did we fall short? What could we do better next month? I want you to also look at lead to customer conversion rate. How many total leads do we get? And how many of those do we convert into a customer? That'll give you, once again, an idea of sales and marketing alignment and what we can do to adjust it maybe on the marketing end. And then finally, because we really are talking about sales enablement, we want to make sure that the tools we're providing to the sales team are being used. So let's look at the usage rate and make sure that all of our sales teams are really living in that sales enablement tool. Listen, providing clean and timely data to your sales enablement team helps them to drive better performance. And that is the name of the game. This concludes our 7-step video series on sales enablement. I hope we got you thinking differently about what you can do to cure some of the problems that you might have driving revenue. And if you want to connect with me personally, I'd more than happy to have an hour sit down. We could talk about your sales enablement strategy and help you drive towards the goal line. Thank you so much for listening today.